Guess who decided he was ready to play a game yesterday? Why, it was a Wyatt Langford, and he did well. And we're going to talk about him next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. Yeah, there you see Wyatt Langford. That's a frequent expression from Wyatt, who's pretty stoic and pretty quiet. When he talks to us, he started to say more and more, but we're still working on that one. Still trying to craft some better quotes from him, but he'll figure it out, just like he's trying to figure out his baseball career. We will dive into that in the second segment. As always, we'll start with the camp rundown, but first, Kat is back in the hot seat doing the producing. I'm in the hot seat. She's got it easy, but she makes us look good. And then we wanted to tell you about our spring training offer to become a diehard. alldls.com/spring-training-offer, $36 for 1 year. You get a free t-shirt. So what more could you ask for? Go ahead and do it if you haven't done it already. I know all you guys in the chats are probably diehards, and if you're not and you're feeling guilty, there's your answer. All right, here we go. Let's do the camp rundown real fast. Well, not real fast. It's going to take about 15 minutes, but we're going to start with yesterday's game and today's game and kind of pull some things out of there. So first up, Monday, if you were watching on the old game tracker or whatever they call it, you notice that Justin Foscue left after the first inning. He had scored a run, and his right hamstring apparently didn't care for it. So he left the game. He's down for a little while. Only a few games, though, and that's good for him because he'd been hitting so well. He's got to hit his way onto the team. So let's go ahead and get Justin back and give him a chance to make the team. He does hit the lefties, but it's hard to play when you're hurt, and that's kind of been something that's tripped him up a lot during his minor league career and even in the majors. You know, remember he collected his first big league hit and was hurt during the at-bat, and we didn't see him again for a couple months. On the medical front, Sebastian Walcott. Now, this is good news. We already heard the bad news that he needed to have elbow surgery and was going to miss a lot of the season. The good news is that he underwent the surgery last week, and when Keith Meister opened him up, noticed that the ligament did not need full-blown Tommy John. 5 to 6 months recovery before he can hit. The best-case scenario is an August return, which still gives him a lot, let's say 3 weeks at Double-A if he's mid-August. Then he could finish up at Round Rock for another 3 weeks, would be ready to play in the Fall League. The Rangers wanted to do that. I'm sure there would be a number of at-bats they'd want to give him. They won't want to overtax him, but give him enough so that he can maybe compete for a roster spot next year. Probably unlikely even at that point, but I think considering the news, which is not good, that he was hurt and needed the surgery, this was the best case scenario for them. Saw some people who were a little bit worried about, the brace. It's like a Band-Aid. It's not a Band-Aid. It's science has advanced, or the procedures have advanced well enough that this thing has a proven track record. Trevor Story is the guy who Sebastian mentioned shortly after his injury, but there have been a lot of position players who've had the brace surgery, and even an NFL quarterback, a pretty good one, Bryce, what was his name? Brock Purdy from the 49ers. He had the brace procedure done, and the ball he throws is a little bit harder than a baseball. It doesn't have to throw it as much, I guess, but I don't think it's that scary of a situation anymore. A belated birthday yesterday, Mackenzie Gore, who turned 27. Only 27, still a young guy, even though he's, next year's his last year of arbitration. He's headed to free agency. Feels like he's been around forever. And he's just a good dude. I like him. Yesterday, the 3-game winning streak the Rangers had was halted in a 6-4 loss to the Diamondbacks. But within that, Jacob Latz started. He's competing for the 5th spot. 2 scoreless innings, gave up 2 hits, didn't walk anybody, didn't strike out anybody. But hey, a pretty good outing for the first time. Jake Berger, he hit the Rangers' second home run of the spring, 110.6 miles per hour, 434 feet to straightaway center field. This guy's got massive power if he can get it dialed in. The first home run was hit Monday by newcomer Danny Jansen. So that's a good sign, too. The Rangers need more offense from catcher than they were getting from Jonah Heim last year. That's essentially the swap, Danny Jansen for Jonah Heim. Hey, for one game, looks really good. A couple bullpen developments from the game yesterday. Carter Baumler, scoreless inning, 3rd inning after Latz. So, usually a young reliever doesn't pitch in this early in a Cactus League game. But the Rangers wanted to see him against some pretty stiff competition, and he got it. He got to face Ketel Marte, got to face Alec Thomas, struck out Ketel Marte, who is perennially here the last few years has been in the MVP talk. Everybody wanted him this offseason, but the Diamondbacks didn't trade him. So pretty impressive. The curveball was really, really good. That's what he used to get Marte, and that's the pitch that Skip Schumaker's talked about so far in camp. That it's a real pitch. It's a heck of a pitch. The fastball's good too, mid-90s velocity. So Carter Baumler, the Rule 5 guy, we know the rules there. He's got to be on the active roster the whole season if the Rangers hope to keep him. And so far, so good. 2 scoreless outings for him. Also, Alexis Diaz made his first spring appearance. It was a scoreless inning. Velocity topped out at 94. So, Kellyman, is there anything more than that? It seems like there might be. The Rangers are pretty encouraged by the 93s and 94s, and that means his mechanics are back in order. I think I read Skip Schumaker say that the slider wasn't very good. It was more of a cutter, but guess what? Cutter's not a bad pitch. Just go ahead and ask Corey Kluber. Jack Leiter's working on one. It'll work. Now, it's not as devastating as the usual Diaz slider, but hey, it's early. But those are good things. Those are all good things that came out of camp yesterday, out of the games. Then the Rangers are back at it again today, and Nathan Eovaldi is taking the mound for his second start of the spring, and we have the lineup here at Goodyear against the Guardians. So 20 minutes south of Surprise. Apparently, that's a heavy trip for some of the Rangers regulars to make. So we got the lineup right here, and it's gonna pop up. Kat is claiming she has it, and I've seen it, so she has it. Here we go. There it is. And they're swinging Sam Haggerty, getting the start. Jansen back in there. As you can see, this is not a great lineup. It's devoid. It's missing star players, and there is actually an MLB rule where you're supposed to have a certain amount of regulars. I think it's 4 in a lineup to help the other team sell tickets and to face decent competition for their pitchers. And the Rangers are trying, I guess. But Haggerty's been great. He's batting .800 this spring. If he does that, he's going to make the team. I think he's going to make the team anyway. But he's 4 for 5 so far. 5 RBIs have been productive hits, and it's good to see. He had some injuries last year and didn't finish the year active as an active player. But he's taken advantage of things, and he's played center field, and he's played second where he is again today. So when you think about that second base job, Josh Smith is the runaway leader for the bulk of the playing time there, whether it's every day or whether it's a platoon. If it's a platoon, Sam Haggerty is better. He's a switch hitter. He's better against lefties than he is against righties. So that would be very advantageous for him. And also when you consider the potential lefty swaps in the outfield, especially with Evan Carter, Sam Haggerty can fill in there as well. So that's pretty good. I mentioned that Eovaldi is taking the mound today for his second start. Probably 3 innings and 45 pitches. And after that, some names you'll want to monitor as well. Coming in after him, Kat. Here it is. Kat's in the comments today, and I appreciate all the talk. She is out of practice. Okay, Tyler Alexander, who is a major league contract in the offseason, the left-hander swingman, kind of jack of all trades reliever. Ryan Brazier, who from Wichita Falls came in on a minor league deal. He and Chris Martin have thrown together the last few off seasons. Chris has moved up there to the Wichita Falls area. Robbie Ahlstrom, I'm president of his fan club. So Robbie Ahlstrom pitching today, his second appearance. And then Ryan Lobos, who had a scoreless inning in his first appearance, had the great 2024 season in the minor leagues and made some jumps there. So you kind of look around at the pitching there, and Ahlstrom still has a chance. I mean, some things have to fall his way, primarily Jacob Latz being in the rotation. If that happens, then I think Ahlstrom has got a very, very clear path. If he performs to get into that bullpen to open the season. Like Skip Schumaker has said, he knows that Robbie Ahlstrom is going to help the team this year in some way, shape, or form. And try to get Robbie on the show here maybe soon, maybe Friday if he's not going to pitch. Got to see the mustache on this guy now, man. He's approaching Yosemite Sam territory. So he said compared to Andrew Chafin. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, Andrew Chafin's still around, still pitching, had a nice career for just being a left-hander who's mercurial. That's the best way to describe Andrew Chafin, I think. Again, I like Yosemite Sam. Robbie is not Yosemite Sam. He's quiet, but he has a lot to say when you sit down and talk to him about pitching. And just a good dude. Did his training this offseason again in the Mansfield area. Yes, at my son's facility, TBT Baseball. Which technically I think is an Alvarado mailing address, but most of the players who show up there are from Mansfield, not just the Mansfield area, Mansfield itself. And what an experience for the guys who get to catch him, the high school catchers, and just get to experience what it's like to catch a guy who's on the cusp of the major leagues. So pretty sweet, honestly. And if you want to look ahead here at the schedule, Cal Quantrill is going to start tomorrow's game, and normally that would be the spot for Mackenzie Gore. I mean, if they were following the order they followed, or for Kumar Rocker, sorry, if they were following the order they followed. I'm screwing this whole thing up. I think Rocker is starting tomorrow. Let's take a look at the email just to double check. Okay, so Rocker is tomorrow. It's a split squad tomorrow. Boy, I hate that. So Quantrill is going to start one of those games. He had worked in relief in his first appearance, so he'll get a start. He's about to head off to Team Canada, so I'm assuming this will be his final outing. The Rangers have not named their starter for Friday, but if everything holds, it'll be Mackenzie Gore. Mackenzie Gore, the birthday boy we just talked about. That would be Friday, Leiter Saturday, and then I think Latz would be Sunday. Yes, Jacob deGrom, we're going to talk about the rotation here in the third segment. No, he hasn't pitched, but he's doing fine, and it's all by design. Don't sweat it. The best pitcher on the team, I think he is better than Nathan Eovaldi. I think everybody would probably agree to that. He's on his own little path here to the opening day, kind of like Brandon Nimmo is, and he said, "I got plenty of time. There's no reason for me to be in a game right now." He was working on getting his mechanics dialed in. And as we've talked about for more than a year now, when Jacob deGrom, when his mechanics are right, when everything's in place, he's very, very good. And I think last spring, he wasn't quite in the right place pretty much all of spring. And so you saw the velocity down. And I think he came into camp focused on getting that right. He spent some time in the pitching lab where he gets the instant feedback. And so he's in a good place. Don't worry about him. All right, we're also in a good place because segment 1 is done, and we're headed to segment 2 where we're going to talk about Wyatt Langford. And we'll do that right after this on the DLS Sports Rangers podcast. Hey guys, let's talk about the World Cup and more specifically AirDNA. It is not does not trace your ancestry. It's more like Airbnb. It's Airbnb for the World Cup. That's airdna.co/DLLS, where you can find all your handy dandy information and figure out how much money you could make during the World Cup for renting out your home. There are upwards more than 1 million fans who will be coming to our area for the World Cup rounds that are here. I know that the Netherlands is coming, and they're crazy about soccer. I don't want to say you can jack up your rates, but you probably could. Look at what you can make: $14,000 to $23,500. This is game-changing money we're talking about, and AirDNA wants you to help maximize your earning potential. Again, go to airdna.co/DLLS. It will take you through the steps to figure out how much bank you can make during the World Cup. And then this episode is also brought to you by our friends at Wild Fork Meat and Seafood Market. There you see the website, wildforkfoods.com. They have 9 DFW locations, the friendliest staff around, and so much meat. Hundreds of different varieties of meats, cuts, and whatnot. They have your standard stuff like the beef and the pork and the chicken. And then they have, of course, seafood. And like I always mention, they have kangaroo. If you've always wanted to try kangaroo, by God, you can do it at Wild Fork Foods. If you want to become a member at Wild Fork Foods for $29 for a year, guess what? You don't even have to set foot in one of the 9 DFW locations. You can order online, and then they will deliver it to you. In many cases, same-day delivery, no later than next-day delivery. They want to give you the freshest, cheapest produce around, and it's also the best produce around. Again, Wild Fork Foods, Meat and Seafood Market, wildforkfoods.com. All right, we're back, and I hope you guys have been to Wild Fork Foods here recently and have stocked up the freezer or the fridge, or maybe you just like to go in every day. It seems like we're at the grocery store every day. God, is it annoying and expensive. Holy moly. Anyway, not expensive, at least not yet. Wyatt Langford, and yes, to answer some questions in the chat, he talked to our buddy at the Morning News about an extension. I had talked to him earlier in the spring about it. Still nothing there. Still open to it. You know, he knows he's going to be around for 4 more years. So, you know, within those 4 years, I think something needs to get done. But Wyatt also has to be a better player, right? Let's be honest. I mean, he's good. There's the talent, you see it, and it's there every day. It seems like he does something amazing, or that's above average, better than a lot of people in every game, whether it's running out a ground ball to first base and making a routine play very, very close, whether it's tracking down a fly ball or a hard hit ball to the gap. He's got the speed to do that. You know, he hits balls so hard. They don't necessarily result in hits all the time, but he will hit a 106-mile-per-hour line driver to the second baseman who catches it, you know, chest high for an out. He does a lot of things well, and you saw the growth last year from year one, his rookie year, in 2024 to last year. So how good of a player is he? Well, he's really good, right? 2020 guy last year, 20 homers, 20 steals. It might have been 1 or 2 more than that, but he was in the 2020 club, which is impressive. And he did a lot of good things. The defense, since year one, when he was thought to be a liability defensively, remember he was a catcher at Florida his first year, moved to the outfield. And then when we got to spring training in 24, everybody was like, gosh, how much outfield is this guy going to play? Is he going to be your DH? And, well, he ended up playing a lot of outfield, and last year was a Gold Glove finalist against he didn't win it because Stephen Kwan wins that every year. At least he's won it the last 4 years. But Wyatt was very, very good. I think he was a 21 defensive run save. It was a huge number, an astronomical number. He can play center field as well. So that's one question that has to be answered. Is he going to play center? Is he going to play left? He can play in both. He doesn't care which one he plays. Same thing with Evan Carter, who would be the center fielder if not Wyatt. Evan just wants to be on the field, and that's cool. And he has been. Speaking of the game yesterday, he started the game with a triple. It was a blooper that he took advantage of a misplay in the outfield and turned it into 3 bags. So good for him. With Wyatt, though, when we talked to him right at the start of camp, his first day in camp, we're like, well, how do you get better? And he said, well, I'm not a 240 hitter. And he wasn't last year either. He batted 241, but you get the idea. He wants to have a higher average. He wants to strike out less. 151 strikeouts, a number that I looked up for the story I wrote today at alldls.com. I was a little surprised it was that many, but he did take a lot of called third strikes. Again, he may benefit more than anybody in baseball with the ABS, but he's a good dude, and he's going to work hard. He has to get better at the plate. He has to stay on the field, and that was a problem last year. Or even in spring training before games started, he dealt with an oblique issue. It wasn't a severe oblique issue. The Rangers had time to let it very slowly heal and take its course, and it did, and he was fine by opening day. But, this guy was on the injured list 3 times last year with oblique injuries. So how do you do that? And I said, did you lay off the lat machine? Because this guy's put together. And he said, no, not really. He was doing more rotational work, which, you can get stronger and more flexible, more pliable in that situation. And so he's aware that he needs to stay healthy. Some of that, and this came up last year with Bruce Bochy was preaching it. Wyatt doesn't need to work so much before games. He doesn't need to take 500 swings in the cage. I think 500 is an exaggeration. He needs to find a way to get dialed in sooner, to be comfortable with the swing and not beat up his body, because, it's hard to play outfield. Whether you're in left or whether you're in center, you're going to be running a lot. With Wyatt, obviously the Rangers want him to go first to third. They want him to steal bases. Travis Jankowski said in the offseason that he thinks Wyatt could be a 30 stolen base guy. Thinks he could be a 30-30 player. Skip Schumaker has said many times that he thinks Wyatt's going to win an MVP or 2 in his career. So that's the talent the Rangers think they have. A guy who hits the ball hard, can hit it over the fence, can run well, can play great defense. It adds up to a guy who, like, let's say, Bobby Witt. You want Wyatt to get the Bobby Witt kind of contract, a team-friendly extension that takes care of generations of Langfords. And 10 years, what was Bobby Witt? 10 years, $225 million, something like that. You're buying out a ton of free agent years. I would hope that if the Rangers go that route with an extension, they at least buy out a couple of years of free agency. But as somebody noted here in the chat, Kelly Man, do you want to wait until the CBA is figured out? Well, that's a good point too, because what do you want to lose a year on the extension? I don't know that they would get paid, but nevertheless, I understand where you're coming from. I still think, I'm being overly optimistic probably, I still think there will be a season next year. Hopeful, optimistic, whatever you want. But I think that Wyatt is deserving of one. And while we're on the subject, I asked Jack Leiter the same question. Had the Rangers talked to him? He said no, and he also was not worried about it. He said that's one of the things that is not at all on my mind. So anyway, Jack had a good start the other day. We'll talk about that coming up. So how good do you think Wyatt can be? Aaron Judge, I know what Missy is saying, those are some pretty big numbers there. You got to hit 300. You have to have 1,000 OPS. So that's probably 30 or 40 homers. It's a bunch of doubles. It's a lot of walks to help keep the average down. And, but it's a potential, guy who's right there in the hunt to win a batting title as Judge did last year. Probably, what would be a decent improvement for you guys? 275, 280? I think that'd be a hell of an improvement for Langford. You definitely take that. You figure you're adding 40 points to his on base, which was 334 last year. So you're talking about a 380 on base guy, and then you're going to add to the slug, which was over 400 last year. Yeah, if you get that to 500, get the OPS in the 800 to 900 range, he's definitely going to be in the MVP discussion. Of course, I'm a believer that the MVP should be on a winning team. I didn't always vote that way, but yes, and Uncle Ted has pointed out, I think he's talking about Brenton Doyle, but Wyatt Langford was also a 5 WAR player last year. He was 5.6 WAR player, 5.7. So that's a pretty good player. You do a lot well. You hit well, you run well, you play good defense. You hit all the right spots on that on those WAR formulas, whatever they are. I don't know why they just don't make them public anymore. Just go ahead, tell us what's in your WAR formula, Baseball Reference and Fangraphs. I don't think it'd be the end of the world if people knew. Anywho, I guess they're like the MLB teams. They don't want us to know any of their technology. I still want to go into that pitching lab that they have in Surprise. They have one here too. The one in Surprise, just let us go over there. If you tell us don't take any pictures, all right, we won't take any pictures, but at least want to see what it's all about and all the things that can happen there. Apparently, it's not a fun place to throw a bullpen session because there's only 2 tunnels, and you're inside. You're, as Skip said last week, you're inside. You're in turf shoes and not cleats, and people come to Arizona. They come to spring training so they can pitch outside. They've had enough of the pitching indoor stuff, so not fun. And I think that the guys who had to throw there, if they didn't throw well, I think they got a pass because of the situation and the scenario. It was, rain pushed it back. That was a week ago today, I believe, right? And anyway, I think I've gotten off topic. We're back to Wyatt Langford. Now, who wants to see him in center? I'm kind of torn on this one because I recognize that if he plays center, it's to take care of Evan Carter with the back woes, and that makes a ton of sense. What would Evan do with 400 at bats, 450 at bats this season if he's not playing against left-handers? How good can those 450 at bats be? They can be really good, and depending on where he is in the lineup, anywhere from probably not 1. It looks like that's going to be Brandon Nimmo. So you automatically think, well, maybe they would put Carter at 8 or 9. Let's remember that in the World Series, Evan Carter batted 3rd. Okay, he can fit in anywhere in the lineup. He's versatile enough. He has enough power, and again, he can help you start a rally with a walk. He has the eyeballs for it, the smarts, knows what pitchers are trying to do for him, and to him rather, not for him. If they were doing something for him, they'd just throw it down the middle. But they're trying to get him out. But he understands that. And anyway, Evan in center, Benny says, I would agree with you. I'd like to see him in center. I think Wyatt's arm plays better in left field, and I think that those 2 guys, nothing's going to fall into the left field gap if whatever scenario it is. But I think Evan's just the better center fielder. I know the Rangers say their metrics, what they value, show that they're pretty equal players. Then I heard Skip Schumaker say the other day that Evan Carter is an elite defensive player. So put him in the most important spot, which is up the middle, which is in center field in this case. Yeah, Clayton Lee. I'm with you. Center field. All right, so that's 2. That's 3 votes. That's a quorum. I think that motion's gonna pass, and we'll go ahead and pass along to Skip and make sure that he knows that everybody wants Evan Carter in center field. Nimmo and right, still Brandon Nimmo hasn't played yet. He's not going to play for into next week at some point. I thought I heard him say March 5th. March 4th is a game against Brazil, Team Brazil, in the World Baseball Classic. So the Rangers have an exhibition against I don't know. I don't know who's on that team. I think I saw who was it? An ex-major leaguer's son is pitching for them as a 17-year-old, pitching for Brazil as a 17-year-old. Missy says, would left field be less damage on his back? I mean, probably, right? Just because he has less ground to cover. It's a little trickier in left, though, than it is in center. So I don't know. But I think the theory is that, yes, Evan in left would be done strictly for his back. So anyway, Benny, who issues the most optimistic player opinions of his players, Woodward or Schumaker? Well, you can't get much more optimistic than Chris Woodward. You really can. He had guys who he thought could be potential batting champions who'd really never played in the majors. So going to give Chris Woodward the vote for that. And the Rangers play Chris Woodward this weekend, Sunday, or Saturday, the day before I return. So I'll miss Woody. Good guy. I want to wish him congratulations for winning that World Series ring. So, all right, segment 2 in the books, and it's time to talk ads, and we'll do that right after this. Okay, guys, Supporters Club, and if you're not a member, become one. It's really easy to do. You go to alldls.com. You go to youtube.com/@DLLS_sports. They'll take you to the homepage, and there'll be a join button. You hit that, takes you through the process. It's our diehard membership for the YouTube channel. And Kat over the weekend posted a day in the life of a baseball beat writer at spring training, starring me. I watched it. It gives you a pretty detailed look at what a day is like in camp, and then even a little bit after camp. I'm going to show the video to my friends at Booties, and maybe they will give me a free beer or something. I kind of doubt it, but they already give us 20% off, so that's awful nice of them. Oh yeah. They love us there at Booties, and it's not what you think it is. Okay, I had to explain that to Gavin Collier yesterday. He was on the weekly show with me and John Moore, and told him you got to go to Booties because he loves wings. Wings are like his favorite food. Anyway, become a become a member of the Supporters Club, please. You get the emojis, you get the badges that so many of you have, so that's pretty cool. Also, merch. store.allcitynetwork.com. It's where you get everything. If you become a diehard, you get a free shirt. We're going to talk some more about that coming up. More than 50 shirts, hats like this jewel right here, our OG hat. It gets a lot of wear from me, but so do all the hats. So go to store.allcitynetwork.com and do it today. Okay, question from Shane Harris, off topic. But Jeff, will you be in Philly for opening weekend or in Baltimore the series after? I'm going to be in Philly. I will be there for the first 2 games, not the third game. It's pretty funny. I was just going to go for the opener, but to fly back Friday was like outrageously expensive. The Saturday, I'm not kidding, the Saturday flight was half as much. So I get to spend the off day in Philly, and then I'm going to go to the game, check it out, do all the pre-game stuff, and hang around for a few innings, and then shoot over to the airport, which isn't very far away from Citizens Bank Park and the Veterans Stadium, is that what they call it still? Or is that, I know that place was demolished, but I don't remember what they call the football stadium. The basketball arena is right there, so it's kind of a nice little complex. But yes, I will be going to Philly. So this will be opening day number, I guess, 19 for me. The first one was in Seattle. It was on March 31st of 2008. I remember that because it was my mother's birthday, but also it was cold, so cold, it snowed. It snowed. The roof, of course, was covering the field, and then we looked out into left field, and at some point in the game, these giant snowflakes were falling. And that's where I've discovered how cold Seattle is. It is cold in July in Seattle. Love the ballpark. Do not love the weather. Where was last year's opener? It was home, right? 2022 was Toronto. 23 was home. 24 was home against the Cubs. Anyway, I think that it seems like the Rangers have had more home openers during my time on the beat. Like Jeff Bannister's first game was a road game. That was at Oakland. So it happens. Kansas City, that was coming out of COVID in 21. Is when the Rangers scored 5 in the first inning, and then Kyle Gibson came in and gave it right back. So anyway, and T.O. would love to go on the road for opening day. It's fun, and I like the home opener too, but I wish the home opener and the season opener were always here in Arlington, but that's just not the case. Rangers are closing on the road. Now, they've closed on the road a lot here lately. 24 was Anaheim, right? 25, where were we? We were somewhere on the road to Cleveland. And then this year it's Minnesota. So we will be doing that as well, because I always believe spring training, first trip, last trip, trade deadline, and I think the trade deadline this year falls August 3rd, so the Rangers will be home, but the series before that is Houston, so I'll probably go to that one. Anyway, there you go. There's my travel schedule, so you'll know when to rob my house when I'm not home. Better watch out for my dogs, though. They'll bark fiercely and then just come and lay down and let them insist that you pet them. They're not the meanest doggies out there. Okay, so like we talked about earlier, this is Nathan Eovaldi's second start of the spring, and so the rotation's gone through one time, and some of the starting candidates have had to work as relievers, but they've been through it one time, with the exception of Jacob deGrom, who again should be pitching, I would assume, in a game pretty soon. Maybe he'll pitch in a minor league game. That happens with regularity. You can simulate the game. You can roll innings. You can pitch in a stress-free environment, which it's a real deal. The adrenaline's a real deal, and sometimes it's easier on the arm if you're pitching on a backfield instead of in a stadium. But so how have these starters fared? Well, Eovaldi has actually had one of the worst starts, if you will, although the Rangers like the way he pitched. He did throw 3 innings in the opener against the Royals. Perfect first inning, then he gave up 2 home runs and 3 runs total in the second inning. And again, the second homer was a out anywhere in the world except for, well, maybe not the world, but anywhere in baseball except for Arizona, maybe not Colorado. But the fact of the matter is they were happy with it. He was working on his splitter. That's what both home runs came on. So we'll see how he improves today. Probably 3 and 45 or 3 and 50, 3 innings, 45 to 50 pitches. So who else? Well, Kumar Rocker. He gave up 1 run in 1 2/3 innings, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. Mackenzie Gore, 2 earned runs in 1 2/3 innings, no walks, no strikeouts. Jack Leiter, we talked about the other day. 2 innings, scoreless, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. He made a couple pitches. He got to have a couple jams. Latz yesterday, 2 innings, 2 hits, no walks, no runs, no strikeouts. Quantrill, who had pitched in relief, 4 hits in 1 1/3 innings, 1 run, 2 walks. Yeah, 4 base runners, or six base runners and 4 outs is generally not a very good combination for you. And then Austin Gomber, I've listed him. He pitched yesterday. 1 1/3, 5 hits, 3 runs. 2 of the hits were home runs. Struck out 1, didn't walk anybody. He is looking more like minor league depth at this point after a long run in Colorado, but not necessarily a successful outing. So like we talked about with Latz, he and Rocker are competing. They're the 2 front runners for the 5th starter's job. A lot of buzz for Kumar Rocker early on in bullpens and in his live batting practices. He pitched well against the Cubs in the opener. Great stuff, tremendous stuff, talent off the charts. And honestly, I think the Rangers want him to win that spot. He was their first-round pick, 3rd overall in 2022, opened some eyes with that selection. They had scouted him heavily in 2021 while they were also scouting Jack Leiter, and they selected Jack 2nd overall in the 2021 draft. They loved Kumar and his competitiveness and all of that stuff, and all of the other stuff. So I really think they want him to win it. And one of the reasons is, I think, because they believe the bullpen is better with Jacob Latz in it. But Latz is confident, man. I don't know if you guys saw the weekly show. It would have been last month, right after the snowstorm or whatever storm, ice storm, whatever. He posted up on the weekly show with John Moore and I and talked about a lot of things. And he said he's going to be happy either way. He likes pitching in relief. And, he does want to start, though. He started his whole life in Little League, high school, college, which, was a pretty rocky career in college. Not the performance, but with injuries and, the transfer thing where he couldn't pitch his last year of college, and he came to the minors as a starter, made his major league debut as a starter, became a reliever. Then last year, as we all know, pushed into duty, and he served very, very admirably. And now he's this candidate. If the Rangers thought he was going to be the 5th starter I think they would have already anointed him. They would have erased the whole bullpen talk and said, Jacob Latz is in rotation. That would buy Kumar Rocker time in the minors to work on his delivering things that he was working on late last year. But alas, there is a competition. And, I just think that the Rangers feel like the bullpen is better with him in it. Now, Kumar's got to pitch well, okay? He can't have any, brain farts. He's got to show that he can handle the running game, manage it, and keep base runners from taking advantage of him. The stuff has to be there. I just, really, I'm just kind of the gut says Rocker if he performs, because his upside is a lot higher, I think, than Latz's. But I know Latz is super confident. He feels like he's going to take a jump this year. Did some things in the off season, and so we'll talk about this in about a month from now. What is it, the 25th? So we'll know in 1 month from today the team will be in Philly. I'm assuming they're going to work out the day before opening day, which is the 26th. And so we will have all of our answers by then. Misty, who was in surprise, said Gomber was great in his first inning, terrible in the second. Yeah, that kind of happens, I guess. I do wonder, and we talked about it with him. John Gray always talked about how he had to have two different breaking balls when he pitched for the Rockies, one for home and one for the road. It's hard to be consistent with any of their pitches. And, as much as everybody talks about how far the ball flies in Coors Field in Denver, so many balls fall in front of the outfielders because the outfielders play so deep to try to take away the deep fly balls that turn into doubles, and they don't want them turning into triples because that ballpark is enormous, right? And so that's as bad as the home runs. Honestly, some people might think it's worse. Balls that should be outs or are outs in other ballparks fall in for singles, and innings get extended because the outfielders play so deep there. So there are a lot of issues. Will Gomber get some peace of mind? Obviously, he's going to get another outing or two or three. And, the first outings, let's not read too much into them. Nobody is worried about Nathan Eovaldi, for instance, giving, with the 2 home runs he gave up. So, but that's kind of a look at the starters. One thing I am trying to find out, and I'll be damned if I didn't text the wrong name to Ross Fenstermaker. I asked him, why hasn't Santos pitched? Well, we all know Santos got hit by a line drive in the left hand and has a fracture, and probably going to be 4 weeks before he's back. I meant to say Winston Santos, who has not pitched, and I'm wondering what is going on there. I've seen Santos Cornell throw bullpens, so I'm just wondering if there's something happening with him as he comes back. He had Tommy John surgery in 24, missed all of that season, returned last year. All About Sports Zone. Who is your sleeper to take the 5th spot if it's not Rocker or Latz? Well, I would say Cal Contral, and I don't know if he's really a sleeper. I think there are some things in play here. He's a veteran. He logs innings, which, that's important stuff. It doesn't strike anybody out, which probably helps hitters find some success against him over the last few years. He's in camp on a non-roster deal. And if the Rangers want to preserve their starting depth, they could put Quantrill in the rotation. They'd also put him in the bullpen. That's a way to do it. I think giving him a major league deal would satisfy him as opposed to having to look for other clubs. And teams will inquire, at some point, whether it be the end of camp or like early May, as was the case with Adrian Hauser last season. You remember back in the years are running together, 22 maybe, when Matt Carpenter was in Rangers camp and ended up going to the Yankees after a great start in Round Rock. And so those things do happen. The players have outs in their contracts, and if they have a major league opportunity that they're not going to get from the Rangers will just let them go. That's just kind of a baseball thing, a courteous baseball thing. Rarity is surprised that Zach Kent hasn't been claimed after being designated for assignment by the Cardinals. That window's probably about to close, right? The Rangers could do it. They absolutely could do it because they have a guy they can put on the 60 in Jordan Montgomery. That would free up a spot for Kent, but they may want to keep their powder dry on the 60-day move. I keep saying 40, man. The 60-day move with Montgomery. They want to keep their powder dry, depending on if they need any non-roster players make the team and they need to free up a spot. Well, that's a really easy way to do it. Any scenario where Quantrill is in the bullpen, yeah. Look, Rocker is rotation or bust, right? He is not going to be a reliever. So if he doesn't make the rotation, he's going to AAA. And so there would be an opportunity there for Quantrill at that point. I think it's pretty hard for Quantrill to make the team with Latz in the bullpen or Rocker in the rotation, though, because the only guy you have on option, I think Diaz can be optioned, but I think Garcia can be optioned, but I think really the realistic one would be Cole Winn, and he doesn't deserve that. Or Latz. Latz can be optioned. Anyway, hey, we went a little long. We got to talk about the greatness of a diehard membership, and we'll do that right after this. All right, diehard, we talked about it right off the top. We're having our spring training special, alldls.com/spring-training-offer. Put that in your little window, and it'll take you to the page where you can sign up for $36 for 1 year. Become a diehard for $36 for 1 year. That's $3 a month, and you get the free T-shirt. The T-shirt's valued at $34.95, I believe, is what we sell them for. So, I mean, kind of do the math. It's pretty sweet deal, and it's not just Rangers coverage that you're getting with the spring training deal. You're getting coverage for all the teams we cover, which is let's see, the Mavs. I've heard of them. The Stars, yes, and of course the Cowboys. The combines are going on. I think we have a combine special too. But this is a baseball show, by God. So let's do the spring training deal. Hit the QR code if you're not good at typing or forgot what I said. But again, it's alldls.com/spring hyphen, not a dash, not an underscore, a hyphen, training hyphen offer. That's it. That'll take care of you. You get 20% off of our events. You get 20% off of additional merch. After you buy your first T-shirt, you're going to be like, well, dang it, I need more of these. So you'll get 20% off of all future purchases as long as your diehard membership lasts from the day you sign up to the next calendar year. So if you sign up today, which is the 25th of February, you go to the 25th of February next year. I think you renew at the normal price, but even then, you're still way ahead of the game. So go ahead, dang it, become a diehard today, and then store.allcitynetwork.com is where you get the merch. So diehard first, merch second, and then merch thereafter. Got it? That's the plan. All right, and we are back here for our batting cleanup segment, and Misty points out in the Discord, because there's been a little fantasy baseball talk. I saw you guys talking about it, having a league, and well, I may join. We'll see. I've submitted my email address for consideration. I do have a team in a league I've been in for 20 years that I've never won, but by God, this is my year. I've been slowly but steadily moving up, and it's a keeper league, and I have been so bad in the past years that I've been able to draft and keep Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, and Bobby Witt. They are three guys on my team, and so right there's a heck of a place to start. Actually, if I don't finish in the money, I should be like forced to resign and give up my team. And I don't disagree with you, but injuries, boy, those will kill you. Anyway, let's go to the batting cleanup. And this is a Rangers note, and I didn't know where to put it because it didn't really fit in the camper rundown. So here we go. The Rangers have signed a 17-year-old left-hander, Brainer Figueroa. It's an interesting story. He was signed last year by the Cubs as a 16-year-old for $40,000 as an outfielder. He didn't hit a lick. The Rangers had scouted him as a hitter, didn't like him, didn't want any part of it. And apparently the Cubs decided they didn't want any part of it because they released him during the DSL season last year. So he decided, hey, I can throw really, really hard, and I'm left-handed. And he's been clocked at 95 to 97. And just based on some video, teams were just offering him the max, which is only 100,000, but many teams were offering him that money, and he selected the Rangers. Why would he do that? Well, because his brother is Glader Figueroa, who is the third baseman prospect for the Rangers, power hitting guy, left-handed hitter, can play a little second base, strikes out too much. So, he's still a work in progress, but he could see Frisco this year. He may even start there. So the Rangers had an in that the other teams didn't have. But yeah, so the max offer was $100,000. That's an MLB rule. But because Brainer had been released by the Cubs, it doesn't count against international signing bonus money. So it's it's low risk, doesn't hurt any future signings in this year's international class. Rangers still have some powder dry for guys who might pop up, but this 100,000 does not come out of that. So that's a pretty good job by the scouting department down there, the international scouts, Hamilton Wise, Johnny Klum, Mark Muzzy, and then all the international guys down there like Rafiq Saab, who do a great job and keep the Rangers, dialed in on free agency and these young kids who just turn up and show something. Elsewhere in baseball, Merrill Kelly, the former Ranger for 2 months last year, he has told reporters in Arizona, or in their camp, which is in Arizona, so yeah, they're in Arizona, that he does not expect to be ready for opening day because of a lingering back issue. The results haven't been of the MRI and all the imaging, I guess, haven't been reported yet, but he told them, probably not going to be ready for opening day. And the problem with that is that he was named their opening day starter. So they're going to have to shift. Obviously, the next guy would be Zach Gallen, who they just re-signed. And so that makes a ton of sense. But Merrill Kelly, our friend, a good guy, I liked Merrill a lot. He is dealing with some back stuff and won't be ready for opening day. Chris Sale, this happened yesterday. The Braves signed him to a 1-year extension. 1 year, $27 million with a club option in 2028 or $30 million. Sale, he won the Cy Young in 2024. The guy can pitch, obviously. And the Braves, who have had some pitching injuries, need all the pitchers they can get, not just for this year, but for next year too, because those young kids who are having the surgery, Schwellenbach, who already had Tommy John, then had some elbow stuff, and now the Hurston Waldrop kid, they should probably be ready by next year, but probably won't be able to log a ton of innings. So just makes a lot of sense for the Braves. Lawrence Butler, the A's outfielder, the left-handed hitter, who a lot of you probably saw in Frisco when he was with Midland. I know I saw him when he played there. I didn't see him in Midland. I saw him up the road in Frisco. He had some patella tendon work done. That's knee in the offseason. He's behind schedule too. He was just cleared for batting practice, though. He'll be doing some outfield drills. Will be ready for games in mid-March. And will that be enough games for him to get ready? Probably. I don't know that hitters need a ton of at-bats, but if he does miss the start of the season, it looks like it'll be a short-term thing. And then yesterday, this was pretty funny. Did you see the Pirates and the Red Sox game? A lot to unpack from this one. Connor Griffin, the Pirates, can't miss prospect. I think he's either the first or the second prospect in a lot of these prospect rankings. Hit 2 home runs in Fort Myers and the Fort Myers ballpark where the Reds play, and the Twins too, or the Red Sox and the Twins. It has a mini green monster. They try to emulate that. Well, he cleared the monster both times, and I think he hit one around 446 feet, somewhere in that vicinity. As my mind races back to yesterday. Anyway, and it's Connor with a K, not a C. Connor with a K. Seems like he's going to be a heck of a player. And then in the same game, Wyatt Abreu, who just torched the Rangers to open last season, as you guys probably remember, he hit the home run in the 9th inning off of Luke Jackson that spoiled opening day. He broke a bat yesterday, which isn't anything unusual, but he broke it while checking his swing. So that kind of tells you maybe how strong he is. He couldn't believe it. He's probably been on the phone with his bat rep and been like, "Hey man, I think I got a stinker." But the funniest thing that happened, it gets funnier. The plate umpire, whose name is Mitch, I don't know, Trziak, Trzeeciak. He's a AAA umpire. And yesterday, he kind of showed that he's not ready for the majors. Within the first 3 innings, there were five ABS challenges, and they were all overturned. One of them, like the first one, was a pitch that honestly was almost center on the chart that shows you where it was wrong. It was like a perfect pitch. Then the next pitch, the very next pitch, he missed about 2 inches inside. It was challenged. Tough day for old Mitch. But hey, that's the ABS for you. And it happens quickly. But the concern that I've had the whole time is, and thank God he's retired, but what if Angel Hernandez is your plate umpire? Maybe you get a CB Buckner in there. Games might go a little slower in that case. But I think it also shows this ABS, the exception, that the umpires are pretty good at their jobs. There have been a lot of challenges that have not been successful. So, and those seem like more fun than the ones that are successful. All right, anything else we've got on batting cleanup? Not really. Let's see what kind of questions we got from the crew. But rarities, how do you get in the Discord? Well, I'll be, Kat took care of you. I'll be honest. I hadn't really logged into the Discord for a while until our show changes, because I wanted to make sure I was in touch with you guys a little bit more. Now I might be in a damn fantasy league. But anyway, email Ben at alldls.com. Okay, rarities, he'll take care of you. So there's that. And it's pretty fun. You guys stay up on things really, really well. So good work. What else do we have in the chat today that I haven't touched on? I've tried to stay pretty up to date on it. Yeah, Merrill Kelly will miss opening day. Intercostal nerve irritation. Okay, Benny, that's not really lower back then, is it? The intercostal's kind of, I don't know where the intercostal is. I don't want to act like I'm a doctor, but seems like after all these years, I've learned a lot of muscles and things that I otherwise would not know if it were not for baseball, like the teres major and the subscapularis. And I think you have bursa sacs everywhere in your body. Every joint maybe comes with a bursa sac. I'm not 100% on that, but I think you can have, I've heard of hip bursas and shoulder and elbow bursas. So, and if they're bad, it's a problem. What else? Do we have anything else in the chat there? Oh, T.O. says he's available to co-GM with me. Well, I mean, his baseball mind's probably sharper than mine, so yeah, we might. I mean, it was in the Discord earlier, so that kind of popped up. It seems like this league's getting really big, but that's okay. Zach Kent, yeah, we talked about Zach Kent on the fantasy side. Misty asked if I have any pitching. And pitching was definitely my downfall last year. I had some injuries. Let's take a look at my team real fast. I'm called the Rockridge Johnsons. If anybody understands that, say it in the chat and we're friends. Catcher is Salvador Perez. I have Suarez at third. Bobby Witt. Trevor Story I protected. Jazz Chisholm I protected. Judge Otani. Christian Yelich. They're not pitchers. Pitchers. Cole Reagans. All right. Trey Yasevich. Okay. Nathan Eovaldi. Huh? Okay. And then I selected I protected David Bednar, because you can make up a lot of ground in saves, because there are some people that just do not take closers. I, though, will at least try to have 3 to help with the saves. But anyway, I think we've touched them all here. Pretty good stuff today. And yeah, I'll do some more thinking on the fantasy league. Galaga Champ thinks the intercostal is near the oblique. That's what I was thinking. But like the lat and the oblique and the intercostal all seem to be like created, or not creative. What the hell? They all seem to be really near each other. I don't know where I came up with created. That's nuts. What would I have been possibly thinking of? I don't know. Centralized? I don't know. Anyway, he's hurt. Probably going to miss opening day. All right. I will be at opening day whether I'm hurt or not. So we'll look forward to that here in a month from tomorrow. Sean, Blazing Saddles reference, best friend. All right. We are back Friday, 1 o'clock. And then next week, we're going to mix it up. We're going to do a post-game show from one of the spring games. The one against Brazil next Wednesday. We'll get you that information as things move in a little, as we move in that direction. I get back Sunday night. I'll be there for a week. And we'll do 3 shows while we're out there. All right. Next show, 1 p.m. Friday from the studio. And can't wait. So we'll see you guys then on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.